Kaaway nila, ganon. Kaaway ng administrasyon. Hindi eh. Ito yung hindi ko maintindihan sa Pilipinas. Ang lahat ng bansa right now, to be frank with you, Admar and MJ, are, especially even our ASEAN counterparts, are already thinking what they gonna do, how they gonna respond to this escalating military conflict between Iran and Israel, and the possibility that it will escalate into a regional conflict, and even if other major countries will get involved into a world war. So ngayon, nag-iisip na sila. Anong gagawin nila? Paano nila respondihan? How they gonna protect their citizen? Ano yung mga steps na gagawin when it comes to economic, when it comes to food, and all of these things? Niniisip na nila yon. Tahimik lang, pero nag-iisip at gumagawa na ng mga bagay at hakbang. Sa Pilipinas, ano ang inaatupag natin? Politika, politika, politika. Duterte against Duterte, against Duterte, against Duterte. Sus Maria Josep. What the Philippines would gain out of it? Ano ang mangyayari sa mga Pilipino? Hindi tayo ready. So yun yung siguro yung essence ng sinasabi ni Senator Padilla. Magplano, wag magpanic, relax lang, pero do something. You know? Para yun, mitigation ba? At saka preparation ba? Whatever happens, we are prepared to face realities. Yun eh. Yun yung sinasabi ko. Critical na kondisyon. Ngunit, ang report kasi ng ating Department of Foreign Affairs and even the Department of Migrant Workers is more on sa case ng Israel. How about the case of Iran? Mayroon ba tayong mga kababayan doon? Ano na ba ang sitwasyon sa kanila? Mayroon bang mga casualty or may natamaan ba or something to that effect? Kasi I think hindi malaki, maybe hindi mataas ang number of Filipinos in Iran, but I would presume na there are Filipinos in Iran as well. So yun din sana i-report din nila, aside from the fact na nare-report din yung sitwasyon sa Israel. Yeah.
Opo. Ano po yung nakikita nyo po dito, Prof, na kasi parang tag team ang kalaban ng Israel ngayon after nitong isa dito sa mga Hamas. Well, sinasabing backup daw ng Iran din itong Hamas, tapos Iran na ngayon. Pero marami nang nakakalusot ng mga rockets ng Iran sa Israel, unlike doon sa mga pag-atake ng Hamas na nasasalupa ng defense system ng Israel. Pero kapansin-pansin, based doon sa mga available na mga footages na marami talaga, in fact maraming mga lugar sa Israel ang natatamaan ng mga rockets dito. Anong nakikita nyo dito? Matatapos pa ba itong tension na ito? Ano naman ang nakikita mong role ng Estados Unidos bilang tagapamagitan? Dahil may mga report na hindi sumasang-ayon yung US dun sa unang pag-atake ng Israel dun sa nuclear area dyan sa Iran. Prof?
Actually, it's like this, no? At the moment, it's a military escalation between Iran and Israel. That's very obvious na. At saka kung titignan mo, kumbaga, the first strike came from Israel. Ang justification ng Israel is baka daw, parang justification before ng invasion of Iraq ng United States na may weapon of mass destruction. Pero latter part naman, wala naman at walang katotohanan yun. So parang ganun din ang ginagawa ng Israel at the moment. Sinasabi niya na they have a preemptive strike kasi daw for their survival. Kasi ina-allege nila, Iran have this capability or will develop some kind of a nuclear weapon. Pero actually, sa totoo lang, based on reports and even based on sa atomic energy agency na based in Europe, so far at the moment, ina-assess pa yung capacity and even yung tinatawag na nuclear program ng Iran. So there's no truth to the fact na Iran is already capable of producing a nuclear weapon or even a nuclear bomb. But yun ang sinasabi nga ng Israel. They've had a preemptive strike. It's precisely because of that. But there's no truth to it at the moment that is factual. So yun yung issue ngayon. Kaya nagkaroon nga ng meeting ang United Security Council. Actually, many of the members of the United Security Council, of course, except the United States, condemn. Even President Putin, even China, condemned the attack of Israel on Iran because it's a violation of international law and it's a violation of the sovereignty of Iran. However, ang sinasabi, yun ang dinajustify ni Netanyahu ng Israel nga na, it's a preemptive strike for their survival. However, on the side naman of United States, ang sinasabi ni Trump at sinasabi ng kanyang mga kabinete at the Vice President also of the United States na walang kinalaman or hindi binigyan ng green light ng United States ang Israel when you talk about the preemptive strike against Iran, the first one on June 13. However, this is really hypocritical, and I really don't think that Israel would do such a thing without the permission and even assistance of the United States. Ang tanong nga ngayon ng mga tao, is the United States involved in the Iran-Israel conflict? Well, yes, to a greater extent. Kasi first and foremost, saan ba kinukuha ng Israel ang kanyang weapons at ginagamit niya to attack Iran? And one thing that you have to remember in this issue, medyo kung titignan mo ang case ng Iran, medyo masakit sa kanila kasi almost all ng kanilang military generals, yung mga head ng kanilang different departments ng kanilang defense system and military organization, namatay doon sa June 30 na strike ng Israel. So lahat ng leaders nila, karamihan, I think 7 military generals, mga top leaders talaga ito, including I think the chief of staff ng kanilang military, namatay doon sa first na strike ng June 13. And then, nuclear scientists, and I think many of their scientists also died, around 7 or 6. And then there were casualties sa civilian. So, it was really not an easy thing for Iran to accept. So, you will understand ngayon kung bakit, well, if you put it in a geopolitical perspective and international relation, Iran, it was, kasi if you really put it in analyze it, it was actually a declaration of war on the part of the Israel. They declared war against Iran, and Iran will retaliated. Around 1,000 ballistic missile ang pinakawalan ng Iran after June 13, na kung saan yung tinatawag mo kanina, Admar, na tinatawag mong nakapasok nga, hindi na na-intercept ang ilan sa mga 1,000 ballistic missile na pinakawalan ng Iran against Israel, pati in Tel Aviv ay naapektuhan at iba't ibang parts ng at nagkakaroon nga ngayon ng casualty kasama ng ating mga kababayan sa Israel, nasira ata ang dome. Yung dome kasi is parang ito yung shield against missile na manggagaling sa labas ng teritoryo ng Israel. So it was not as kumbaga hindi na siya parang parang nag-collapse yung dome. So yun. So nakakapasok talaga ang mga missile ng Iran sa Israel. But the problem on this issue is like this. It's not anymore about Iran and Israel. Other players are involved. Andyan ang Jordan na naapektuhan na rin, andyan din ang mga kaaway ng Israel like Yemen, Hamas, Houthis, and also other countries in the Middle East are getting dragged into the conflict. And I don't think Iran will just sit down. I think this conflict will go on a bit more in terms of time. On the other hand, right now, ang sinasabi naman ni President Trump is Iran has to negotiate with the United States. But the problem is like this. The United States really does not have what you call a moral ascendancy, and no one in the world will believe that the United States is not involved. Because even before the strike, there are reports coming from Israel mismo na before the Israel strike against Iran, Trump was informed, and even all the assets of the United States, including aircraft carrier, was stationed already. In any case, after the strike of Israel against Iran, Iran will retaliate at tutulungan nila ng itong mga assets ng United States na naka-station na near in the Middle East na i-block yung mga missiles na sure sila na gagawin at i-launch ng Iran against Israel. So this is to be very frank with you, if you really look at what is happening, this is a proxy war again by the United States using Israel against Iran. Kasi matagal ng plano, at kung magre-research ka about United States foreign policy and approach to Iran, makikita mo that Iran really is being categorized by the United States as one of their so-called axis of evil as far as the United States is concerned. So ano talaga nila yan? Kumbaga parang nakategorize ang Iran as the same as they categorized Iraq during the time of Iraq, na Iraq was still under Hussein. So, ganyan talaga ang paningin ng United States. So right now, if you really look at the situation and you look at what is happening in Ukraine, it's similar to Iran. But this time, the proxy is not, of course, the proxy is Israel. And Israel is willing proxy as well. Because Israel has also conflict to a certain extent with people, with countries in the Middle East, and one of that is Iran. But the problem, this kind of military conflict will not only affect the Middle East, it will affect the whole world, and it will affect even the Philippines to a greater extent, and Southeast Asia and Asia for that matter. Kasi ang Middle East, andyan yung andyan yung karamihan ng mga countries dyan nagsusupply ng oil. So kapag yan nagkaroon ng problema, wala na yung halimbawa yung kanilang yung flight, kasi isasara nila ang kanilang sky, yung kanilang territory na kung saan dumadaan yung mga eroplano, magkakaroon ka ng problema in terms of transfer of goods, transfer of people. And on the other hand, kapag nag-declare ang Iran na isasara nila ang Strait of Hormuz, dyan dumadaan ang tanker for oil. So it will affect the whole world, especially economically. So this is another crisis that the world is facing. It's not just a crisis of the Middle East, it will be a crisis of the world. But the problem is like this, who will mediate? Now, Trump is asking na Iran should negotiate with the United States. Trump, but actually, Iran will not negotiate and will never believe United States, because they know that the United States is also involved in this, and also involved in supporting Israel and even backing Israel with so many arms and even defending Israel in whatsoever way. So ang tanong, sino ang magbibidate? Ngayon, Putin actually, President Putin of Russia, have discussion with Trump, and I think Trump is floating that the country and the leader of the world that should mediate the conflict to de-escalate is President Putin. But as of now, wala pang kasiguraduhan kung si Putin nga would mediate between the two countries na mag-de-escalate, kasi Putin also has relationship with Netanyahu. Nakita ko na sa isang report na Putin and Netanyahu was discussing, but Putin actually emphasized, President Putin of Russia said that you violated international law and you violated the sovereignty of Iran, and he was addressing Netanyahu over a phone call. So may mga ganitong usapin right now, and even I am monitoring the situation as well. And because this is not just an issue of Middle East, but it's an issue also that in many ways will affect the Philippines. Ang alam ko, magtataas na ng presyo ang gas or ang oil tomorrow ng 2 pesos. Maybe that is already related to what is going on in the Middle East. So yun yung masasabi ko initially sa nangyayari.
Pero ano naman ang masasabi niyo po dito, dahil nabanggit ni Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu na gusto raw patayin ng Iran si Trump. Nakita niyo po ba ito na malaki ang tsansa ng katotohanan, or ginawa lang ito para medyo tumulong na talaga ng husto ang Estados Unidos dito sa mga pangyayaring ito, Prof?
Actually, there's no truth to it so far as I'm concerned, because I'm monitoring the whole issue, and I'm also trying to get researching and trying to talk to some other people in the international level. What is really the score of the whole thing? I don't think so. I think that's already some kind of a make-believe or some kind of invention of Netanyahu. Kasi gusto talaga ni Netanyahu din that the United States will be dragged into this conflict. Now, the problem is, if the United States will be dragged into the conflict, it's a third world war. Because other countries will be dragged. Russia will get involved, North Korea will get involved, China will get involved, and many other countries in the region will get involved. It's not anymore a conflict between Israel and Iran, and it's already a regional conflict at the moment actually. But if you put United States, itong si Netanyahu, madrag niya sa United States sa conflict na yan, I'm not kidding, we're facing a third world war. And the Philippines also has to be very careful, because the Philippines has 9 EDCA sites, and you have also military assets of the United States in the Philippines. If we have a third world war, the Philippines will be drugged. It will be used by the United States as a forward base, and at the same time siguro yung iba pang purposes, kasi we have the 9 EDCA bases. We have the Nemesis Typhoon missile system. We have the Typhoon missile system in the country. So that is also the thing that we need to think about as a country. Kasi kapag nagka-third world war, lahat tayo involved. Lahat ng country involved. And I hope, God forbid, that it will never happen. So kaya ngayon, may mga back-channeling na nangyayari. Itong malalaking bansa, China, Russia, actually, it's really China, Russia, United States, na nag-usap-usap yan, may mga back channeling, especially ang Russia is very much involved in this, I think, kasi ang Russia has a very good relation with Iran, and I think it has also, President Putin also has a very good relation with Israel. However, ang problema, itong Israel is also being backed up not only by the United States, by UK, by France, and even by Germany. You know, this country also are, to a certain extent, they have also military capacity. So, hindi ito usapin, I really don't know what Trump wants and what the United States wants. But I think also, inside the United States, there are a lot already of criticism. I think there were a lot of many Americans are already voicing that the United States should stop supporting Israel and should stop, kasi you know, Israel has this kind of bravado na parang immune siya sa lahat ng possible na suits sa kanya, even the ICC and all other and it violates international law. So marami rin sa loob mismo ng United States na mga American citizen, ang kanilang mga tao na nagki-criticize na rin sa nagiging foreign policy ng Trump administration or even the deep state dito sa Israel na being backed up. Kasi ang problema din ng United States sa kanilang domestic na level, syempre kapag their country will be in a war, they will also suffer economically kasi they need to finance the war of Israel against Iran. And that would mean what? Supplying weapons and supplying everything to Iran, to Israel rather. Kasi hindi naman kakayanin ng Israel kung wala ang United States. They cannot wage any kind of military attack against any country if the United States will not back them up. Kasi lahat ng weapons ng Israel really come from the United States. Yun naman talagang totoo dyan. So yun yung mga nangyayari ngayon na sa akin, sana naman a country or a leader na strong enough and wise enough will be able to mediate at magkaroon ng kumalma ang sitwasyon. Kasi feeling ko, pag hindi talaga kumalma yan, nag-escalate pa yan at other countries will be involved. And even Saudi Arabia already made a statement and na makikita mo sa statement nila, they are very much leaning to Iran. And also some other countries in Middle East nagre-ready na rin. So, ang magulo ito. So, kaya sa akin, iniisip ko, sino kaya among leaders na may tinatawag mong credibility to mediate or to even talk na yung between the two sides na para, tawag nito, para mag-de-escalate. Pero Netanyahu is crazy enough to say na hindi daw siya papigil. Talagang gagawin niya ang gusto niya. And then Iran is being provoked to say also na hindi sila papayag na, hindi sila lumaban. So, ang hirap ng sitwasyon. And people in Iran, I have some friends from Iran, so I know how they, anong klaseng mga tao sila. Sila din yung mga tao, alam mo na, hindi sila papayag, hindi sila makalaban. Hindi sila makaganti or something to that effect. So ganun din sila. So ang hirap ng sitwasyon, to be honest with you, Admar and MJ. Yeah.
Bago lang si MJ, meron ding balita ngayon na mismong si President Donald Trump hindi sumasang-ayon dun sa plano ng plano ng Israel na patayin ang Supreme Leader ng Iran.
Kasi yun ang gusto ni di ba? May sinabi na nga si Netanyahu na parang ini-instigate din niya ang regime change sa Iran. So pag sinabi mong regime change, then it's either you eliminate the supreme leader of Iran or you change the kind of political system or political setup ng Iran. But that will never happen. The Iranians believe in their supreme leader and they will support their supreme leader and they're united. Because the supreme leader is like also, it's not just a leader, it's a religious figure. And take note, Iran is an Islamic country. So, mahirap yan. They will not succeed on that. So, what would they do? Eliminate by assassination or whatsoever ang kanilang supreme leader ng Iran? Of course not. That would create lots of trouble. As in, we will face really a third world war kapag nangyari, God forbid, wag naman. Pero ito naman si Trump is double talks. Yun ang problema ni Trump. I'm really disappointed in him because I thought that he will be a peace promoting kind of leader of the United States na hindi niya ifa-follow yung policy ng Biden administration at ng Democrats when you talk about this proxy wars and wars in different parts of the world. I thought she wants to be like a president that will receive the Peace Prize Peace Prize award after he within his time. Pero bakit ganito ang nangyayari? Kasi I will never believe, and many people in this world, even leaders of countries across the world, will never believe that the United States and even Trump walang alam sa nangyayari at walang alam sa mga ginagawa ng Israel against Iran. No one will believe that, to be very frank.
Ma'am, good evening ma'am, si MJ po ito. Ibaba po natin ma'am yung level ng diskusyon sa paksa na maiintindihan ng ating mga kababayan. Gamitin natin yung katagang kampihan. Sige ma'am, i-trace natin yung likely alignments by country or by group. Sakaling talagang itong duelo sa pagitan ng Israel at ng Iran ay mag-escalate po, wag naman po sana, into a bigger pandemonium. Unahin natin ma'am, Israel. Sino po ang nakikita niyong likely alignments? Siyempre, matik, US. Matik
US.
Japan. Sino pa ma'am ang nakikita niyo na maaring
UK,
pumanig?
France, Germany. UK, France, Germany. That would be on the side of the of Israel. The Western Alliance actually led the United States. Ang ibang countries dyan sa Middle East, actually, to be honest, hindi nila yan gusto na madrag sila sa kumbaga sa how do you call that, sa conflict na yan. However, you have to understand that the United States also has allies in the Middle East. So, they are forced to be on the side at saka tulungan ng Israel. It's precisely because allies sila ng United States, and it's more about the United States, not really about the Israel. So, may ganon. Like, for example, Jordan. I don't think Jordan wants to be dragged into this conflict. I really don't think so. So, pero wala silang magawa kasi, alam mo, nakita ko yung footage, dumadaan sa kanila ang ang mga missile galing Iran at saka sa iba pang mga kakampi ng Iran eh. So sila din, they're trying to, kumbaga ini-intercept nila, tinatry nila na hindi bumagsak sa kanilang territory yung mga missile. So wala silang magawa kasi katabi nila ang Israel eh. So yun yung mga sinasabi ko. Pero when you talk about Israel is backed up first and foremost by the United States and the Western Alliance. And one of that would be yung strong dyan is France. Nagbigay na ng statement si Macron at sabi ni Macron that Israel has the right to defend itself. To defend from what? There was no attack in Israel. It was Israel who's actually committing genocide in Gaza against the Palestinians. So I really don't understand what Macron is talking about. And then you have UK and Germany. These are the strongest country that will back up as far as I know Israel. But the number one talaga dyan is actually is the United States. That's one thing that you have to remember. Anong sabi ni Trump? Kasi ang Iran, nagsabi sila na that if the United States will do something directly against Iran, supporting Israel, ang gagawin ng Iran is they will also strike mga US bases na nasa Middle East or nasa Middle East, na iba't ibang countries na malapit din sa kanila, i-strike din ng Iran. So, ang sabi naman ni Trump, if this will happen, the United States full force of the military force of the United States will really go against Iran in that sense. So pag ginawa naman yan ng United States, oh my God, we're facing a pandemonium yung sinasabi mo, MJ. That is really will happen. But of course, we pray that will never happen at all. Kasi lahat tayo damay dyan. I'm not kidding.
Opo.
Even the Philippines, I'm not kidding.
Opo, yung France saka yung NATO allies, although yung Germany, ma'am, nanawagan na maghina-hina may urge with caution yung binanggit ng Germany as a whole.
Yeah, but Germany is like a puppet also. I mean, the current German leadership is like a puppet of the United States too. That is also the case with them. I really am disappointed with Germany because during the time of Merkel, Germany was really good and it knows how to position itself. So right now, medyo disappointed ako sa German leadership, to be frank with you. Yeah.
Opo, yung Saudi Arabia, Qatar at Oman naman, ang kanilang ma'am, status, meron silang cautious neutrality. Kaya itong mga nabanggit na Gulf states ay publicly nananawagan ng de-escalation. Pero meron silang coexistence deal with Iran via diplomacy and nag-aalala sila sa gera. Turkey, nako, pro-Iran to ma'am, anti-Israel. President Erdogan has condemned, kinundin na niya yung mga pag-atake sa Israel. Nako, eto, Russia.
Malakas yan ha. Malakas ang Turkey ha, militarily.
Correct ma'am. Russia. Ito yung sinasabi ng mga komedyante sa US sa kanilang mga late night show na ito daw Russia, nag-iisang bansa na magdudulot ng pagdadalawang isip sa Amerika nung gumawa ng mga hakbang. Bago sila gumawa, na dalawang isip sila, Russia. Number 3, na possible ma'am na likely na magpo-pro-Iran, not neutral leaning to Iran is China. Nako, malaki. Lalo na to ma'am.
No, China already made a statement. Early, I think it's Wang Yi, the foreign minister of China, already made a statement, not necessarily saying that they're totally on the side of Iran, but they say we stand with Iran because Iran's sovereignty was violated by Israel. That was a statement coming from the foreign ministry of China, and I read it in a news. So may ganon. And even the permanent representative of China in the United Nations in New York was interviewed probably around June 14, I think, because I was listening to the interview. Ang sabi rin ng Chinese representative sa UN, na permanent representative, sabi niya, it's very clear that Israel actually violated the sovereignty and violated international law by attacking Iran without even notice. Of course, hindi na siguro mag-notice pa yan, no? Pero ganun talaga. So, you can see that, China is also, you can read between the lines kung ano ang kanilang, at saka take note, Russia and China, when you talk about international and geopolitical issue, will be on the same side. That is the reality. So, maalam mo na kung ano ibig sabihin nun.
Opo, nagkaroon nga sila ma'am ng de facto alliances. Baga, nakikita na natin yung alignment kung magkakaroon man ng digmaan, ito yung mga magkakakampi. Pero ma'am, may mga nagpapadala po ng mensahe sa himpilan sa network kanina, sa SMNI. And parang nababasa nila ito mga pahayag ni Senator Robin Hood Padilla. No?
Ano sabi?
May mga sinasabi si Sen. Robin na mga mamahal ko kababayan, hindi po tayo magpanik, pero dapat po hindi po tayo mag-relax, magplano at ipaalam sa mga naapektuhan at maapektuhan para handa at hindi tayo magkalituhan. Oras na para ito maging proactive at hindi reactive. Meron pa siyang sinabing post, mga kababayan, oras na para maging anuman ang pananampalataya ay magdasal at maganda sa paparating. May mga nagsasabi na mukhang ito ay may kaugnayan po sa conflict sa Israel at sa Iran, itong mga pahiwatig ni Senator Robin Hood Padilla. Meron din kasi siyang post, ma'am, na sinabi niya na nasa 30,000, no? 2.2 million ang mga OFW na nasa Middle East. Mga kabayan nating maapektuhan kung talagang lumawak pa o mas lalawak pa yung duelo sa pagitan po ng Iran at ng Israel. Ano pong masasabi niyo doon, ma'am?
May nabasa din akong post ni Senator Padilla na sinasabi din niya na bakit wala pang kumikilos, dapat may kumikilos na parang ganun ang post niya. Not exactly but yun ang message. Sa akin kasi, tama naman si Senator Padilla eh. Kasi nga, una, marami tayong OFW, hindi lang sa Israel, even the Middle East. Especially the Middle East, marami tayo dyan. So as early as now, dapat proactive ang gobyerno ni BBM. Ano ang mga gagawin, ano ang step by step na gagawin para if in any case lumala ito, alam din nila kung paano nila i-evacuate ang ating mga OFW from those countries na magiging apektado to the Philippines. Pangalawa, hindi lang yun. So kapag yan in-evacuate mo sa dami niyan, anong gagawin? Paano sila mabubuhay sa Pilipinas? Kasi mawalan trabaho yan. So you really have to prepare for that. Another thing is, hindi lang to. Ang pagiging proactive is, i-anticipate na natin ngayon ng gobyerno, ng mga Pilipino, if in any case lumala pa yan at magkaroon talaga, maging regionally wide na conflict yan, and even, God forbid, magkaroon tayo, we will face a third world war. As early as now, we need to think how we gonna survive in terms of food security, in terms of oil, in terms of gas, because why? In any war, the most important, even if you're not involved directly, but even then, ang sinasabi ko, the United States will get involved. If the United States get involved, the Philippines will get involved. So dapat, ang una nating isipin, ano ang gagawin natin? If in any case things happen, mag-escalate yan, either regional conflict na yan, wider, or God, please Lord, mag-third world war, anong gagawin ng Pilipinas? Unang-una, dapat isipin mo food security. Kasi even now, may problema na tayo ng food security. When you have war, countries will never share resources because they need to provide for their own citizens. So yung mga bagay na to, as early as now, sana hindi mangyari, sana ma-de-escalate, pero we have always to prepare for the worst. Yun ang dapat gawin ng gobyerno natin. Yun talaga, ang OFW, paano mo sila i-evacuate? Nakaplano na dapat yan, may operation yan, sino mga countries ang kukontakin mo para ilabas mo yung mga Pilipino, anong mga paraan, by fly or by boat? Kasi by fly, magsasara ang yung area of responsibility ng mga countries involved dyan when you talk about the skies. And also when you talk about the sea, pwede ring isara yan kasi tulad ngayon Iran is saying na isasara nila yung Strait of Hormuz. So pag sinarayan mo yan, apektado ang trade. But saan pa ang pwedeng isara when you talk about the sea? Kasi when you do transporting of people and goods, dalawa yan, either on air or sa dagat. Kasi ano yan, bansa eh. So yun. So dapat isipin na yan ng gobyerno. Ang pangatlo, kailangan mo nang mag-prepare kung saan ka kukuha ng enough food kasi tataas ang presyo ng mga bilihin, tataas ang presyo ng goods sa international market, and the Philippines is very import dependent in every possible way, especially when you talk about basic goods and agricultural goods like rice, asin, kamatis, sibuyas, and all of these things. Tataas lahat yan. And of course, we're import dependent when you talk about oil and gas. So ito yung mga bagay na as early as now, ang sinasabi lang siguro ni Senator Robin isip-isip na at magplano-plano na at gumawa na ng mga hakbang at tignan na kung paano natong gagawin kung ang scenario A mangyari, scenario B ang mangyari, scenario C ang mangyari. Kasi escalation yan Ito, ganito palang sitwasyon. Paano kung mag-escalate? Paano kung mag-escalate? So every scenario, you have to prepare for contingency and what the country will do, and the government should do that as early as now. Yun yung sabi siguro ni Senator Robin sa pagkaano ko lang, hindi lang siguro niya na explain na mabuti sa kanyang post, pero I think that's the spirit of what he said in his post. Yeah.
Ma'am, bago lang ulit si Partner Admar, paano po yan, ma'am? Napakababaw po ng mga usapin sa bayan natin at nakatutok tayo sa politika, impeachment, ano pang mga issue ngayon na para bang natatakpan yung mga pressing concerns na nabanggit po ninyo na dapat sana as a working state advance po dapat ang pamahalaan, at hindi lang dapat advance, dapat nalalaman po ng tao kung ano yung mga hakbang. Kasi para saan pat sila lang nakakaalam ng mga susunod na gagawin. Yung mga Pilipino walang idea. At saka ang Pilipino, ma'am, naghahanap ng sagot sa mga tanong Prof.
Yun na nga yung sinasabi ko. Masyadong fixated ang Pilipinas at the moment sa politika, sa away-away sa politika at sa backward politics na mayroon tayo. Imbis na mag-impeachment ka dyan against the Vice President, isipin mo kung paano at anong gagawin mo if in any case the conflict in the Middle East will escalate. Kasi yan will require resources, will require time, will require many brains na pwedeng kailangan mag-isip at tumulong paano natin ma-address at paano natin masusolusyonan if in any case this scenario happen, escalation of the conflict, the military conflict going up. So, yun yung mga bagay na dapat isipin. How we gonna face all these things? Because ang Pilipinas is not an island. We are interconnected. Kung anong nangyayari dyan sa Middle East, katulad nung nangyayari sa Ukraine crisis, it will affect the country. Now, Ang kailangan siguro ng mga politiko natin, imbis na mag-away-away kayo at yung kanilang panahon ay tutok nila sa pag-eliminate kay Vice President Sara Duterte for 2028, probably what they can do right now is to think on how to safeguard the country and how to safeguard the welfare of the Filipino people when the time comes that all of this escalation of conflict, military conflict in the Middle East will already be like, high level, high tension driven na at apektado na ang buong mundo, including the Philippines. Yun yung dapat pagtuunan kasi maraming yan eh. May kinalaman yan sa ekonomiya, sa food security, may kinalaman yan sa saan ka kukuha ng gas and oil, how you gonna mitigate the rising inflation both in the international market that will impact the domestic market in the Philippines. These are problems that is not easy to solve and it requires attention, resources, mind, and planning. At dapat ito yung pagtuunan ng tinatawag nating mga politiko dyan sa Pilipinas instead of trying to plan against a plot, against a political crucifixion against the Vice President. Because hindi yun yung priority. The Vice President is there. Dapat nga i-involve nila si Vice President paano susolusyonan itong mga bagay na to because maybe she has more ideas, that can help the country. Pero hindi nila ini-involve kasi kaaway nila, ganon. Kaaway ng administrasyon. Hindi eh. Ito yung hindi ko maintindihan sa Pilipinas. Ang lahat ng bansa right now, to be frank with you, Anmar and MJ, are, especially even our ASEAN counterparts, are already thinking what they gonna do, how they gonna respond to this escalating military conflict between Iran and Israel, and the possibility that it will escalate into a regional conflict and even if other major countries will get involved into a world war. So ngayon, nag-iisip na sila. Anong gagawin nila? Paano nila respondihan? How they gonna protect their citizen? Ano yung mga steps na gagawin when it comes to economic, when it comes to food and all of these things? Niniisip na nila yon. Tahimik lang pero nag-iisip at gumagawa na ng mga bagay at takbang. Sa Pilipinas, ano ang inaatupag natin? Politika, politika, politika. Duterte against Duterte, against Duterte, against Duterte. Sus Maria Josep. What the Philippines would gain out of it? Anong mangyayari sa mga Pilipino? Hindi tayo ready. So yun yung siguro yung essence ng sinasabi ni Senator Padilla. Magplano, wag magpanic, relax lang, pero do something. Para yung mitigation ba? At saka preparation ba? Whatever happens, we are prepared to face realities. Yun eh. Yun yung sinasabi ko.
Opo, at bilang PhD candidate in economics, Prof, alam kong talagang bagay na bagay itong pinag-usapan natin pagdating sa ekonomiya. Para sa kalaman ng lahat, yung export pala ng Iran, yung pinakamalaking export partner ng Iran ay China. 36% ng kanilang total export, no? Sunod dyan yung Iraq, 25%, yung Turkey, nasa 18%. At 82% ng kanilang export revenues ay nagmumula sa oil at natural gas. So indirectly talaga, apektado rin talaga yung Pilipinas kahit napakalayo po ng Pilipinas dyan sa Israel at sa bansang Iran, no? Yung kanina nabanggit natin sa export 'yon ng Iran, dito naman tayo sa Israel, pinakamalaki nilang export diamonds, no? Integrated circuits, telephones, medical instruments, refined petroleum, at ang pinakamalaking destinasyon ng kanilang mga export ay Amerika. Okay, sunod ang Ireland, nandyan pa rin yung China, Germany, pati ang Hong Kong, no? Batay dito sa mga available na mga datos. Prof, kung talagang ganito lagi na merong mga sigalot dyan, indirectly talagang naapektuhan, gaano ka-advantage na meron kang masasandalan na maraming mga bansa pagpipilian para maging alternatibong mga mga katuwang mo? Unlike ngayon dito sa Pilipinas, yes, dito sa Southeast Asia, nandyan na yan. Pero sa iba pa natin, na mga friends, kasi si China, marami namang mga friends talaga ito si China, baka pumihit din yan sa iba pang mga bansa na marami siyang mga kaalyado or mga malaking trade partners. Tayo dito, parang lagi tayong umaasa talaga sa di ba? Sa kung ano yung nagiging pulisya minsan ng Estados Unidos, doon lang tayo nakadikit, Prof.
Yun na nga ang problema. Matagal ko nang sinasabi at lagi kong ini-interview nyo kung sinasabi ko, diversified dapat ang relationship ng Pilipinas when you talk about major countries. At dapat we don't have enemy, we don't have kaaway, lahat natin friends. Neutral ang foreign policy natin, independent, at hindi sinusunod ang policy ng isang superpower, kundi sinusunod kung ano ang national interest ng Pilipinas. Kasi kapag dumating sa mga ganitong pagkakataon na ito na, may conflict na sa Middle East, sigurado the country will be affected, the Philippines. Because the mere fact that we're import dependent, especially of oil and gas, at ang karamihan ang pinakabultahi talaga ng export ng mga ganitong produkto ay Middle East. Isa na dyan ang Iran. And other countries will be affected also in the Middle East. Pag sinara yung mga trade routes, wala, apektado ang supply mo kasi tataas talaga ang inflation. At saka, apektado din supply chain mo, hindi lang oil and gas, lahat yan, apektado other goods as well. Yung transport kasi dyan, ang transport of goods and transport of people will be affected. So, talagang maapektuhan ang Pilipinas dyan. So, ang sinasabi mo nga, Admar, ano ang kahalagahan ng pagkakaroon ng diversified na mga friends at you don't have an enemy or wala kang kaaway or yung kasamaan ng loob na country? Malaki. Kasi tulad ng pagkakataon na to, like for example, China. China is the biggest and the most, to be very honest, the country that will survive if God forbid, in a third world war is China. I'm not kidding. Because they're self-sufficient. They have everything. They have their own oil, they have their own gas, they have, green energy technology. Everything here is electric. Mayroon silang green development. They have food security. Almost everything, they are sufficient enough. So, but on the other hand, they're also trying to help yung mga allies nila or so-called friends. So, katulad ng Iran, China may not be the partner in terms probably military and defense. It will be probably Russia to a greater extent. Pero when you talk about economics like food, kung magsusupply ng food, magsusupply ng kung ano-ano pang mga goods, at in a way, yung i-maintain nila na, okay, we will still be accepting your export of products, even may gulo kayo dyan, para hindi kayo lumubog economically. Kayang gawin ng China yun if they're friends with Iran. That's how it is really in the real world, in real politics, in international relations. So it's very important to have very good relation with all major countries in the world na wala kang kaaway. But the problem with the Philippines, because of our foreign policy leaning to the United States under a BBM administration, nagkakaroon tayo ng problema pagdating sa mga ganitong pagkakataon. Kasi bakit? Kasi naman, paano ka naman lalapit sa China when you talk, kapag nagka-glitchihan na at kailangan mo ng tulong, kung tawag nito, kung hindi maganda ang relationship mo with that country because of the government policy. Di ba? At saka sa dami ng pwedeng lumapit kay China para humingi ng tulong, hindi ka priority kasi hindi ka naman friend ngayon Dahil nga magitgitan tayo ng gitgitan away tayo ng away sa kanila So yun yung mga sinasabi ko na this is not just economics. This is also, it has something to do also with how we gonna conduct our foreign policy as a country. So isa yan sa pinaka-importante. Kaya nga, lagi kong sinasabi, the Philippines should consider its national interest. And one of that is economic development and economic prosperity.
Apo.
And how you gonna do it? By having an independent foreign policy. Kaya ganun dapat. Kaso hindi ganun under BBM 'Di ba? Malinaw naman 'yun, very obvious. Ang problema dito ganito, Admar. Since foreign policy natin leaning, we're a treaty ally of the United States militarily speaking, kapag nagkalitsihan diyan at nagkaroon niya ng escalation at naging wider na ang conflict, definitely as a treaty ally ng ng Amerika, we will be dragged, especially if America gets involved directly into the conflict. Ang Pilipinas hindi spared kasi we are a treaty ally. We have obligation. With that treaty, may obligation tayo na makisawsaw dyan sa mga gera na yan. Kasi kapag sawsaw na ang United States. So, is it good for the country?
Opo.
Of course not.